We had to start a new space. There was, for the first time, a Twitter glitch, and I'm pretty sure it was Twitter. Welcome back, everybody. If you follow Art on the blockchain, you've probably read his tweets, giving insight to both artists and collectors on how to navigate this young, inspired, and tricky space. Today, we're welcoming Unknown Collector to the show to discuss all things digital art, from AI to experimental pixel art. Artist Journal, July 19th, 2023, broadcasting live from Berlin and New York City on Rug Radio via Twitter Spaces. My name is Adrian Pocabelli, and we welcome back co-host, artist, and conversationalist to the show, Runtune. How is your week going?
I've been good. Twitter has been mighty glitchy these days, hasn't it?
It sure has. I started the space, and what happened? And then nobody joined in, and then even Unknown Collector couldn't join in, so I had to start a new one. So unfortunately, that 86 people who had, got the reminder, well, hopefully they'll find us now, and we do have people coming in here, and Unknown Collector is connected, and we already have wonderful crowd here. Santiago Edmarola, Heck, Dr. Version, Emily, Libro, and many more here. So thank you, everybody, for showing up here and checking out this awesome conversation. Runtune, how is your week going there in New York City?
Nothing terribly exciting to report here, I suppose. Just kind of plugging away. I saw that you were in quite a few spaces this week talking about yourself and your art, Pocobelly. That was pretty cool. I missed the one that Kant hosted. I'll have to check and see if he has a recording later. But yeah, that was fun.
It's kind of interesting and fun to actually talk about your own art for a while. I was almost rusty. It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Before the show, a year ago, I kind of had my, my thoughts pretty clear in my head, but I guess I've said so many things on this show that people then ask me about it. Like, what do you mean by, digital folk art and all this sort of thing? And I'm like, I have to go back. That was about 50 shows ago. So it was really great. And it was really great to just have the practice. And the one with Kant was awesome. It was 90 minutes and you really never know where that's going to go. So yeah, otherwise over here, it's been super busy with moving. I actually have a mover coming. My friend Bob is coming in about 90 minutes here to help me move. It's kind of like the big moving day where we move everything, from one place to another. And then I give over the keys on Sundays. So it's just a lot of work, a lot of cleaning, a lot of packing up boxes.
Yes. That's, I haven't moved in, I think, 8 years. So the memory of what it takes to move, especially in a huge metropolitan city.
Oh, man.
Oh,
yeah,
I feel for that.
I am very grateful to my friend Bob, who is renting one of those huge vans, one of those share vans. But anyway, let me get to our esteemed guest here, Unknown Collector. Thank you so much for joining us on our weekly spaces here. We've seen your tweets, for a long time. They're always thoughtful. You have this great, interesting, taste in art. I really love it. And so I just want to say hello, welcome to the show.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Well,
nice to be
welcome.
here. Welcome.
It's great to hear your voice.
It's nice to hear you.
Yeah, nice to hear your voices too.
So I assume you're in an anonymous location. Can you tell us what continent you're in?
Europe.
I'm
in Europe.
Okay, very good. So again, welcome to the show. So how is your week going? How are things going with you?
Pretty good. Actually, I'm also moving, but not today. It's a pretty, you're smooth about it, like a show in between and then the move, and yeah, let's go.
It's pretty crazy, actually, everything I'm trying to do. And I've had these, all that heat out here in Europe. I mean, all around the world, really. I'm not really an allergy guy, but these days I sure am, and so that's just adding more more chemicals to the stew here, more challenges. But again, with the help of friends, it actually becomes more manageable. So I'm happy about that. So you're moving to, and did you find a place?
Yeah, yeah. No, we will move like in August, first week of August or something like that, I think. But yeah, we will move cities, so also it's a little bit challenging, but not the same like in Berlin. I imagine that it's a little bit more the traffic and the people, and I don't know,
Yeah,
things can
and
happen.
just to find an apartment. I mean, there are people that I've heard of who are going back to the U.S. because they can't find an apartment. Like it's that bad,
That's
and
crazy.
it is like it's all about just like your who you know. Like those are the only opportunities I had. Is my girlfriend's sister's ex-husband was moving to Barcelona, and he wanted to hold on to the apartment, so he was like, "Oh, you can rent out the apartment." It was like that. So without that, I mean, I had a couple of other maybes that I didn't really love, and so we're going with it. And yeah, so let's talk about art here, unknown collector. So maybe just start us off here. Tell us a little bit about your journey. Like, even going back, like, did you go to art school? When did you first start getting into art? And what brought you to the blockchain?
I got into art. When did I start my Twitter account? Let's see, October 2021. That's when I got into into art the first time.
Amazing.
So
So
Wow.
very, very recently.
yeah, that's it. It was like a coincidence, I have to say. I my family is pretty like they make art like as a hobby, and my mom is painting, and oh, my coffee machine is going off. My mom is painting, and my sister too. So, but we were never like the family that goes to a gallery or museum together. I don't know. I never really was interested in these kind of things. But then I wanted actually to buy an NFT for a good friend of mine that is like very tech interested, and I was looking into it to, like as a birthday present to, yeah, give him like a picture, a JPEG. And then I was like, but the gas fee is $80, the picture is $80. I don't know, this makes no sense, but it got me interested because I was like, there needs to be a reason that people are like interested in this and what is behind all of this. And so I got into the NFT, like the technical side of it all. And after some months, thanks God, I left the PFP losing money without even having something nice to find art. And then I got like hooked, and since then, I think since I started here, there wasn't a single day that I saw art. Like it, even if I have like nothing, like a free day or something like that with the family, at least in the night or on the toilet, I don't know. I look at art, so I'm passionate about it.
So would
Well,
you
it's
say that it was the craziness of the 2021 market that got you looking at NFTs in the first place?
Yeah, yeah. It was like
Yeah.
the punks that I saw. The day I saw them, like I don't know, 2019 or 2020, but I was always like, what is this? I never, it always takes me some time, even with crypto, to start thinking about, but why are people so interested in it? What is the revolutionary thing about it, or is there any, and this is just bullshit. So I I started to read about provenance and digital ownership and all these kind of things, and since then I found it very interesting in combination with art, that now digital art can be sold, that can prove that this is like the provenance, you're the owner, and all these kind of things that was not really possible before. So I found really interesting opportunity for art and artists.
Well, the quantity of the art that we all consume is something I really think about a lot, actually. Is like, I think just by virtue of it being on Twitter and a lot of us being on Twitter for, maybe, I don't know, an hour or two a day, probably in a lot of cases, means you're consuming a lot of art. And in a weird way, like crypto, it seems like the main use case in a lot of ways. I mean, one of the main use cases is digital art, as you're just saying, being able to buy and sell JPEGs in a credible way. And so it does make me wonder what that's doing to us. Like, put it this way, I think it's forming tastes and it's forming judgments. Like, it's forming an analytical skills, shall we say, that are developing, and I think maybe that's why. Like, I mean, what's so interesting about you already is, I mean, you started collecting and maybe getting into art in like 2021. I mean, this is like perhaps less than 2 years ago. Let's call it 2 years ago. And already, I mean, there you are, practically, one of the thought leaders in the space, putting out interesting commentary for artists and collectors. Do you have anything more to say about just all the art we're consuming?
Yeah, I find it interesting. Like you have the chance, I feel, I don't say that I have the best taste or something, but I definitely see the development of the taste and the judgment of the quality of art is getting better just because I pressure myself to see a lot of art, see a little different art, and like not just relying on the timeline that's like the bubble that you have, but trying to reach out in different, yeah, I don't know, object and see everywhere art and like trying to put myself out there and learn something every day. And I feel that is very like the biggest part of it is subconscious. It's like you see a piece of art and then you have this kind of feeling that this is something special, and this happens because you saw so many thousand pieces of art and you can like subconsciously say this is something different. It's not like the super, yeah, that's not the best definition of it, but it's like the learning process is more subconscious, and the rest you have to do clearly. You have to read about it and these kind of things to, yeah, to can judge it consciously.
It's quite interesting, that whole process. I mean, I find it's quite fast generally. If an artist isn't too tricky, like, Hasdrubal Waffle took me actually quite a bit of time to appreciate. Some artists are challenging, and then once you appreciate them, sometimes they become your favorites. But generally speaking, when I see an image, I feel like I can, it's like less than a second, and I feel like I can just kind of. It's just got that feeling, that thing that maybe as you're sort of saying, that subconscious thing that the things that I'm looking for in an image. Do you find the same thing, or is it something that you kind of think about for longer?
Yeah,
How does that work for you?
yeah, I think it's the same, but it like because I'm so early in already not like short time into art, it definitely is a process that is always changing. That it could
Mm.
be, I had it so much times that I thought about an artist, what is this, I don't, yeah, and then I look at it back 6 months later, I was like, wow, it's like the most genius artist that we have here. Like it's never, I can never, I'm trying to never, now that I had this this enlightenment that these things happen with me and art piece, I always try, when I see a piece of art and think like, what is this? It's like more of a sign to dig deeper into it, to leave it, like to save it and to look at it again and to try to understand what's behind it and learn more about it. Because yeah, most of the time it's not the piece of art, it's me. So
Which can you recall which artist first got you very excited about what you were seeing with NFTs?
my first Calvin, I will, can I, how's the last name of it? Calvin Estevao, something like a Brazilian artist. I never can say the names because I'm always just writing and never actually speaking. So Calvin Estevao is the name, something like that. I always say it right. And I bought pieces from him very early on in my journey, and I still buy pieces of him now. And I see like the development and how his vision stays the same, but like now he made still images. Now he makes like moving pieces that are something else. And so he was the first one. I will try to find the name.
And also, while you're doing that, unknown collector, what was it like to buy your first NFT? Like, what was the experience for you? And you're saying maybe you started with the PFPs. Was it a big leap for you to go to art from there? Because it was for me. Like PFPs, still felt like an investment case. And I feel like your journey was similar to a lot of our journeys, where a lot of us started basically as speculators in profile picture projects and ended up with a little bit of extra cash and then started buying art with it. I, when was your aha moment with buying NFTs?
Yeah. So I found the artist, but I don't know how to link link him here. But it's the name Kelvin Estevao. In the way you say it in Brazilian in Portuguese. So and for the question, yeah, like it's the thing is with PFPs, I just like you. I started and it was like more this kind of FOMO thing. I didn't have an idea which PFP should be like valuable, and I just bought some and I burned a lot of money. But it's a lot about who's hyping this. If it doesn't have like cultural relevance, like punks, maybe that is like the start of it all. But for other things, it's like more who's behind it and other things that you can find out with some data. And this is like very mechanical to trade PFPs or to I don't know to can know which ones will gain in value, and I really don't enjoy this process, and maybe it would be better, maybe I could make some money with it besides just buying art and don't earning nothing, but no, it's not my interest in art. You have like this, it's more about the art than the NFT, you know. For me it's just like that now. With NFTs, you can actually give it some relevance for the people that before didn't get it, and a lot of still don't get it. Like that NFT give them the relevance, these pieces with the provenance, but at least more and more are understanding. So,
And you started with AI art, is that correct? And what was it about AI art that kind of drew you to it? Is that the first art you collected?
no. When I started collecting there, I didn't even know AI existed. I think I was not. I'm always a little bit like I'm early, but a little bit late. So I started with normal illustrations and all this kind of different art. Yeah, I tried. You know, it was like it's kind of an addiction. Also, you not just I cannot just look at it. I need to own it. It's like this is the this also makes me so hopeful for the future because it awakes this feeling in me that I need to own it instead of just looking at it. It's a different kind of feeling. I don't know, but I collected a lot of pieces. Then I had like I always search for new visual conceptual stimulation. Then I started to collect photography for some months, only photography, and then I got into AI art, and then this was the longest period I think that I was very focused in it. And after that, now I have my favorites, and I always start to look what's coming new, which artist I didn't see, because there's so many thousand artists, and you always think, yeah, I should know them all by now, but they're always coming up. A lot of artists that are here for some years and I never saw before, and I was like, wow, how is this possible?
You know, that's funny. That's a problem I have as well. And actually, it takes me so many times in a row to see an artist's name to have it kind of like stick with me and like, you know, associate a name with a type of art making.
Yeah,
I
I
know that
know I
Poco
started
Belly's show
with the
kind of helps
list.
with that.
Sorry, I didn't want to
Oh,
interrupt
I
you.
was just saying, I know that for me, Poco Belly's show has kind of helped me, you know, uh, better memorize these artists' names because you're right. There's thousands of artists that I see every day.
Yeah, definitely. I started to watch finally after I always saw it on my timeline. I started to watch the artist journals, and now I'm a little bit addicted because it's always very entertaining, and you always see a lot of great teasers art. Mostly, that is always something very different and fun to dive into afterwards. So it's a very fun show. I really love it.
Well, I appreciate that. And you and my mom are addicted. So big shout out to mom if she's out there. And so, okay, yes. So, and Ethereum, I assume, is where you started. Now, how long did it take you to discover, what was going on Tezos. I also started on Ethereum. It took me at least a year of kind of I thought I was following what was going on in the art scene on the blockchain, but then it was quite a revelation to me when, after maybe 3 months being on Object, is when I first started to realize that there was stuff that just kind of really appealed to me. I think it was Haiti Rocket, JNK, who's now Kurt Hustle Collective. And then I started looking at what they were collecting. How was that journey for you? Because now you've even released art on Tezos, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that was also a long process. I always thought, but I'm always like, I need some time to really dive into it, because I'm always thinking, yeah, I have always so much to find out and see on Ethereum. But one day I was like, okay, I will finally try to find good art on Tezos, and it was incredible for me. It was like a different world, because it's so small in comparison, and the quality is, I would say, much higher. Like for like on Ethereum, like on Foundation, you have, I don't know, 200,000 pieces available, and a lot is just like crap. Crap. No, I don't want to say that, because it's not that. There are some things I just want to sell with cheap AI art or something, but there's like very generic art, a lot of that. And then on Tezos, it's much smaller. There are still a lot of artists, but I feel like there's much more quality experimental art, something that really makes you think that you didn't see before. And this was very interesting, and I really got into like a streak of collecting on Tezos until the money stopped flowing in. So, but on Tezos I could collect every day. It's like always so much good editions or one-on-ones for good prices. So yeah.
Well, that is the strange thing about it. I mean, I don't know. I didn't blow all my cash, but I made a nice like amount of money in that bull market, as many of us did. Especially if you're in the PFPs, and I had the MFers, and I had like 9 of those things. I wish I'd sold them at 6 ETH. Let me tell you that I did not, but I still sold. Still did all right on those. And yeah, like to your point. I mean, it's very addicting once you start collecting, and I think you know part of the reason is exactly what you're saying. It's so cheap, and it's like, so the value, like, I mean, we haven't really seen, I mean, except for like a handful of artists who have taken off, like maybe Louis Osborne, Uxine, maybe Strange Thing. We haven't really seen like a huge payoff from buying this art, in a sense, interestingly. But I still kind of think that could happen in the long term. What do you think about the investment case? I mean, it sounds like that was part of the reason that you
Mm,
were so excited to buy.
no, it's not. Not it's not the reason to investment. It's just I could still afford it. I was doing the exact same thing for 10x the price on Ethereum, that I was just collecting without any strategy, and I
Hmm.
blew all my profits from the bull market. I don't need much. I have a comfortable life, but I don't need much things. I don't need a fancy car or things like that. So I was very addicted also from the idea to help artists, like following their dream to live from their art. It was like a very comforting thought that you buy a piece of art, you own it, and you help someone with it. It's like a very, yeah, this is like the most beautiful thing about collecting art. And so I spent, like, I don't know, 300 Ethereum, all my money on Ethereum, on art pieces, just because I was so addicted to this feeling. And not just because of that, because I was like, at some point I was deciding, I don't want to do something else. I want to somehow like fill my life with art and help artists, or yeah, curate art. I don't know, with everything that is surrounded with art. I want to fill my life with this, and I need to find a way to keep doing it. I'm still not there. I'm not earning with anything, but I want to stay inside the world of art. And so I was like, okay, I would just spend my money that I luckily made in a bull market with crypto. I will just spend it on art, and I will live the decentralized ideal thought of like the, how you say that, sharing, no, but like that you spare the money in all kinds of directions, and just have art and help people. And I think investment wise, it's the same like on teasers. It's the same like on Ethereum. With most art that you buy, you don't make any money. I didn't make any money with art. It's not like the thought behind it. Maybe in 10 years there will be some, hopefully some pieces that I have that will be worth something, and I can keep collecting art. My goal is to keep collecting art and live my comfortable life that I have now, that is not full of luxury. That's the only thing that I need, because I don't think that it's necessary to drive a Lamborghini and all these kind of things when so many people are struggling, and so many beautiful souls like all the artists that I met on my journey that are struggling to can create, that this is in the society is not even like valued or supported. So I feel that we have a big chance um, in with this space. This is my big dream. I'm an idealist, but I feel you need to act like you want to see the world or the space changing. So that's what I'm always trying to do, even though it's not for my personal
It's your benefit.
benefit, economic growth. But yeah, here we are.
So
I
are you
hear you
trying to
exactly. Here we are. Sorry, Renton, go ahead.
are you trying to just continue, growing your trading and collecting, or are you trying to like I mean, I see that you've curated a lot of like what is it, on cyberspaces, and you're doing this object one um curation. Can you talk a little bit about curation?
Yeah, so I'm not sure how I will like. I don't think I will. Yeah, I don't not sure how I will make money from it all. It's not like I don't want to make just money for the sake of money. I wouldn't buy so much art if it would be like that. But there will be some ways. Hope in the future when this space grows, I think I will be fine. Like at least in my like little expectations that I have monetarily, how to spend the money in real life. So it will be fine somehow. But it's on cyber galleries that I made. This was like a fun thing in the beginning. It was not very. I probably should take off the links because I'm not very convinced anymore of how it's done. But it was all part of the learning process, because like collecting, like judging, like curating art is all a big learning process that never stops. I'm a very beginning still of my journey, but I'm like curious to learn every day about it. And now, like tonight, I have the space with Object One. Tomorrow is the drop. So I like normal, like everyone, I was applicating with a idea for a curation about naive art in the digital space and in connection with Web3 and shared values. And they like how I say that, agreed. No, they yeah,
Sure, they
how
accepted,
they
agreed.
accepted. They sometimes
There
I'm
you
missing
go.
the words. They accepted this curation, so I was like a little bit strengthened in my ideas that this is a good way for me, and that I have some kind of eye talent for this all, and that is like a good base to start off, to grow and to keep growing, and to use that this space still very immature, and I have a time to grow myself also. And there are not a lot of professionals, I would say, collecting or curating. I see there are a lot more very good curators coming to the space, which I find great. But yeah, I feel we're very not super professionals. But I also feel that I have time to grow, but I also have the feeling that this happens very fast. Like you said, I started 2 years ago to see art, and now I have tomorrow my first curated drop, accepted from very great curators from Object One. So I'm very proud for the development that I took. And it has nothing to do with money and money spent. Like sometimes it's all about like the biggest collection, the most expensive is the best one, sometimes seen like this in social media. But these things you can buy, and this the like something like that, I'm very proud of, because it's not something that you can buy. It's something that you have to earn for yourself. So yeah.
Yeah, big congratulations on that too. And as I like to say, it's a testament to this space that, you can go from buying your first art piece, let's say a little over 2 years ago, let's say, to curating a pretty, one of the more serious platforms, we could say, A-level platform in that short amount of time. And I mean, imagine trying to do that in the contemporary art world, right? You'll be lucky just to get a curation anywhere within that time frame. So that's again the beauty of this space is how really
Exactly.
how fast things can go. And we have a ton of the artists that you're mentioning here. There's a ton of people in here. So if anybody wants to join us on stage and talk and ask Unknown Collector a question, leave a comment, feel free to put in a request and I will bring you on stage happily to join us here. So, uh, you're doing the curation, and tell us a little bit. I'm kind of back to this thing. You were mentioning, or I was mentioning, that you were into AI art. Like it seemed like you kind of had a bit of a phase there. Are you still excited about AI art? Is what is next? What are you excited about right now? With, I mean, you've been consuming this stuff like I have, and like many people here, almost probably everybody in this room, practically. What are you excited about right now? Where's this going? And start with AI, and if you can move over to what's next.
Yeah, so I definitely was like more excited about it 6 months ago because it was also new, like all the visuality, like the visuals and all the pieces seemed so new, so never seen before, like the glitches and all this kind of stuff. It was very fascinating for me, and it it went on for a lot of time, long time, like that I kept exploring, and I always found new works that were like dragging me inside, and that I was like, I never saw that before. It's so interesting. I will research how it's done, or what's the idea of the artist, and I don't know. So but now with Midjourney version 5 and these kind of things, and it's so easy to reproduce like photographs and all this kind of thing, it gets a little bit boring. I'm still finding the same AI artists. Like my favorites are the same for the last months, I would say. Um, and I don't know if it will change because it's just so easy to don't invest time to create art with it. And but in the end, it's about using the glitches, using the language of the AI to use the weird things that it produces to make something unique, to make something special. And I feel that is like a lot of really good artists like got into it, and they're still using it and they're still doing it. But like new people that start to use AI now with the new versions, they get pushed into this visuals, this perfect 3D, like this perfect photorealistic image, and this is a little bit boring for me. So um, I was I was surprised from the fellowship drop post photographic perspectives. The last one is I found it was really interesting, and they pushed themselves to go outside like the typical post photographic um, visual. So that was pretty interesting. I loved that, and I knew most of the artists, but some were new to me, and it was very fun to see the collections and to see the pieces. And yeah, so what's new? I would say like now it's the same with the visuals that came out. That was very interesting. That was very new, very raw, very glitchy. Now the same thing is happening with the AI videos. So I'm pretty excited to see more of those, to see more animations made with AI. It has like a special kind of charm, like this kind of abrupt movement. It's not so smooth at the moment. It's like this pulsating animation, which is pretty different to a normal animation, which is fun. But besides that, I'm always open now. I'm more open and more interested in other kinds of genres and art. Again, after seeing so much AI art, I also feel that it sharpened my judgment about what's what's special, what's unique, what has a good idea, what has a good visual idea and a conceptual idea, and this kind of thing. So I'm happy that AI came out like at the same time that I started to see art, because it definitely helps to better your judgment, I would say. Like to think about what makes art special. Is it the visual? Is it the idea is it, yeah, what makes it special. So it's pretty interesting, and I'm pretty happy that it aligned timeline wise all of this with me, that I glitched into art on the blockchain and AI and all of this kind of things.
It does sort of turbocharge your judgment in a sense. Or back to that idea, your critical eye, especially because it's like a whole different. I mean, you've made AI art as well, and as you know, it's like a completely different process from drawing. So all of a sudden, if something is beautifully rendered, well, you're not thinking. The aesthetic isn't like, oh, look at how like it can be beautiful in and of itself, but it's got like as to your point, maybe it's just not as special, or it has to be extra beautiful for it to be special in a sense. Like, so you're almost starting to look beyond at other things. So it's an interesting place that you started. And tell me what you think of this. I mean, my what I'm most excited about when I see AI art now, weirdly maybe, are the brush strokes. I mean, that stuff, or what we maybe let's expand that and let's just call it textures. You know, because then you have someone like Graphica there, who I think is in the crowd here. Has these beautiful, I'd say, textures. They're not so much brush strokes, but then I see the work of like Strange Thing and others, maybe Lily Illo, and these beautiful brush strokes. I feel like that is part of the newer AI, is they're really able to make, brushstrokes that rival even what I'd be tempted to say, like, traditional oil paintings.
Yeah, I think so. It's like to find what can the AI do different than other mediums before. It's not so much interesting to have a photograph reproduced, because we could already take photographs, for me, for my personal taste. But exactly like you say, which kind of visuals can you achieve with the AI painting and the brush strokes, how you call it? And yeah, you have the great you named some great examples. Graphica is one of my favorite artists in the space, and I feel it's like just so, he used the AI glitches to perfection. Like it's they're there, but in the, like, you're always like drawn in what is happening in his pieces. It combines the glitches with the aesthetics that are like, yeah, that you normally know. It's like this mix, like a simplistic piece, and then there's this glitch that strikes out, and you're like, wow, this is interesting.
Yeah, and maybe there. Sorry, go ahead. I was just going to say maybe there's something to be said for, as you're sort of. I think you were kind of highlighting this idea that there are glitches, like celebrating the glitches that are native to AI. As a way of kind of exploring the medium somewhat, and maybe those become a little bit more relevant. In a certain context.
Yeah, for me, these are the brush strokes, the new
Hmm.
ways of creating, like the oil, like, I don't know, other materials. These glitches are like the brush strokes that only AI has, that makes it special. If you can just reproduce things that are already existed, it's just a way to mass production, but nothing else. Like, there still can be beautiful pictures, and you can use it for, I don't know, design stuff. But for me, art is always like disruptive in a way. It always tries to find something new and find something special in concepts, in visuals, and yeah, this is the art that I like. That's something that you've tried to highlight the weird things that surround us. And with AI, that is like pretty weird. You can make that in a very new and innovative way. And I admire if artists are trying to use that to their advantage and try to go deep in what can I achieve with the AI that wasn't possible to achieve before. That's maybe the, like, it's something super difficult to even do. So is this is very impressive for me.
I
Yeah,
think one
I,
I
I
think one
completely
thing that's
agree.
kind
Sorry,
of
go ahead, Bertin.
sorry. I think one thing that's kind of interesting is the way AI has affected art outside of AI tools. Because, like with photography and everything, just like using a camera, AI is capable of pushing out so many compositions, like really complicated images, at just a huge rate of production. That's harder to do as an artist, just drawing, painting, even whether that's with traditional mediums or on a tablet or something. Um, and I see a lot more artists who are kind of ambitious in trying to do, like, you hear of these artists all the time that are trying to put out like an artwork a day, or something to that effect. And I think part of that is just trying to keep up with the rate of production that AI tools allow other creators to accomplish.
For me, it definitely like pushes the, don't want to say mediocre, but if you want to earn money with your art, of course you need to have some kind of judgment, say, okay, this is good art, this is not so good art, because why should I buy it? You need to judge it in some way to can make the decision, this is art that I want to buy. So let's say like a mediocre illustration. Of course, now with AI, it will be pushed against the wall. It will lose its special its speciality. It will be very easy to reproduce, and this is a challenge. I feel it's also a challenge for artists to push themselves to find what makes their art special to others. Into images that can be recreated maybe with AI. So in the end, it's like the natural development that you have to push yourself to keep up to date, and to still sell your art. But the only thing that is problematic is that it's like swamped everywhere, and it's hard to find the real good stuff. This is for me the hardest part about all this easily produced AI images. And for that, when I entered the space, I was like, curation, all this gatekeeping stuff, we don't need it. But it's very much needed, because it's just not possible in all the swamp to find everything that is good. It will be buried. So that I changed my opinion about that.
Yeah. I mean, one thing that is kind of crucial for digital artists, I feel like, is this there's this like demand to be productive. And if you don't produce, you know, at least a couple artworks a week, or at least maybe one a week, then it's easy to get kind of buried beneath all the other image making that's being shared out there. And so that's why I kind of brought up that point about AI kind of pushing artists to hustle a little bit harder. Do you feel like
Yeah,
that's do you feel the same way? I
yeah,
mean,
for
I
sure.
see what you're saying, where it's like you know, just to say it the way you said it, like there's a lot of mediocrity being pushed just for the sake of keeping up with a rate of production.
Yeah, that's definitely a challenge. But it's like we need more content, real content curation, other projects that are focused on art, that are spotlighting artists that are really challenging us and with their art. So I feel it's not another way. We won't go back. It won't be better. It won't. The next bull market for NFTs, it will be horrific. Which kind of amount of AI art will be minted and try to get sold. So we need to find a way to educate ourselves, and more artists the same, like collectors. I also feel some artists are trying to use AI and producing images, but they don't know how how not special it is, like how easy it is actually. Like I try to produce with create images with AI, and I always try to find something that I maybe can bring into it. Of course in an amateur level, because I'm not an artist and I'm very new to this, but like an idea, at least an idea that is different, that I didn't see before, even though the visuals can, like, it looked like a photograph, but it may be some concept that I didn't see before, or something like that.
Chaz Gold has been waiting very, very patiently on stage here. Chaz Gold, welcome to the show. Where are you calling from?
I'm from Portland, Oregon.
Oh, nice, nice. So, do you have a comment or a question
I'm
for
like,
the show?
so many comments, so many questions, so many thoughts, but I'm gonna try to break it down. First, I want to say, like, about the mediocrity thing. Like I'm glad that somebody's finally saying something about it, because like I've been keeping my mouth shut about that for the longest time. I'm like watching like art scroll by on my screen sometimes. I'm like, crap, 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 low effort, low effort, low effort, low effort. It's like it drives me crazy when people like, it's like if you're gonna do AI art, put some effort into changing it a little bit from just the prompt. If you're gonna do just prompt work, then sell it for less money. Don't charge people up the wazoo for something that you did in like 3 seconds. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, you might be, prompting might be that good, and I know because I've been doing AI for 2.5 years now, like art. I've been doing this since the early days of Wombo and Dream or Night Cafe, and God knows that I probably sunk $1,500 into SnowPixel.app back in the day. You know, because I couldn't figure out how to do, my brain could not wrap around itself, get around about Google Cloud folders. I just didn't understand it, didn't know it, didn't want to learn it. I figured like if I just put money into it, I could just make more art and like just get on with it. You know what I mean? But I was gonna add the one thing I wanted to ask about it that I didn't hear come up. Is additions versus one-on-ones. What's your thoughts on it?
Hey, nice to meet you first. And let me say one comment to what you said. I feel it doesn't even have to do with the medium. If there's a lot of mediocre art, it just has to be like that, because to something to be great, there needs to be also something that is not so great. It's just normal, and we see that in every kind of medium. But just with AI, it's pushed into the into an extreme number that you see every day, and it's challenging, like you said. But it has, for me, not so much to do with if it's raw AI, because you can still have a vision. Like, for example, Inigo Bilbao, he like is making this horrific human AI animal computer sculptures with AI that are completely raw. He doesn't change a thing. He just pushes himself, produces so many outputs, tries to like find the little different word. I don't know how he does it to arrive at his pieces,
Yeah,
and they're very
how
impressive.
to curate all your final images is what you're saying.
Exactly, and then if you have a good idea, if you just produce raw, you say like make something with it, and this most of the time it's just, this is important. But there can be raw AI art that has like a concept, like a concept that is interesting, that you can still say this is so much better than art that is like, I don't know, produced in 1 month,
I have
but very rarely.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like I just don't hate. I hate seeing art that looks like somebody walked across your keyboard and smashed your keyboard in Midjourney, and you got something cool out of it. And I don't know, maybe I can just, because I've been doing it for so long, maybe I can just tell like when people have done that. You know what I mean?
I
I'm like,
think so,
oh.
yeah. I think
So
so, and that's important. That you, if I would recommend every artist collector and everyone to just see. I don't know if it's the easiest thing is to try to produce oneself, or to see like the Mid-Journey feed, and then you can, yeah, you get an idea of which things are very easily reproduced and done, and without the real
right,
like
it's
artistic
like
idea.
with like people learning their prompting really well, and tighting so tight that like you can prompt something perfect straight out of like the first run. But it took that person usually, like, I know personally for me, it's taken me years to get to where I can write those kind of prompts. And now I'm trying to go back from Midjourney back over to Stable Diffusion again, and I'm like, I'm having a hard time transitioning back over to Stable Diffusion because the prompting is a whole different animal over there. And I was like, man, I forgot about this. I was like, wow, but it's, I can tell, it's almost it's the whole story of Picasso when the lady walks into the cafe and asks him to draw something for her, and he sketches something out on the napkin and he hands it to her and he goes, "That's $300, please." And she's like, $300? You just draw something for like 10 seconds on the napkin. He was like, "Yeah, but it's the 30 years of experience that I got here to draw that on that napkin that I'm charging for."
Yeah,
Well,
I love that story. That's really funny, but
it's almost an argument for raw AI in the end. And Ella, I want to bring Ella on stage here, who has also been waiting patiently here. Ella, welcome to the show. Where are you calling from?
Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm calling from London. So yeah, thank you so much for bringing me up on stage. I really appreciate it. If it's okay, I just wanted to chip in on the discussion that's going on.
Absolutely. Yeah. Question, comment, whatever you like. Go for it.
Yeah, okay, so we've got into the whole AI thing again, which is absolutely fine because AI is a huge topic. It is the single most transformative technology of our generation. It's up there with the invention of the printing press or the invention of the internet in terms of what it's going to do to human society. And I'm not just talking about art, I'm talking about the technology itself that underpins these tools that we're all using. Um, there's a lot of low effort AI around now. I completely agree. And if anything, I mean, I did traditional art for 20 years or whatever, however old I am, I don't know, my whole life. Used AI for about the last year. And it is the amount of low effort stuff that's out there that is actually, it's kind of almost pushing, certainly me and other people as well, away from wanting to use it. Because if you come up with anything cool, somebody's just going to slap it into Midjourney, use the describe function, and there's going to be 20 low rent rip-offs before you've even posted it on your timeline.
Well,
But I do want to.
I've tried that. It actually, I found it didn't really work. I was just kind of curious if the describe worked. Have you tried it and it works?
I've used it on some of my own stuff as a test. When I was still doing AI, I've kind of stopped mostly recently. But yeah, if I could get a really close result by using describe and then reprompting, I'd bin
Well,
it as an idea basically because I know I'm just going to get copied in 3 seconds, which is sad. But the point I wanted to make was a few months ago, you had Grant Yun copies everywhere. It was minimalism, wall to wall, everybody doing rip-off minimalism. And then a few months before that, you had, I don't want to sound like I'm throwing shade on anyone, but there was a lot of, women in leopard print, that kind of specific style of illustration. Again, nothing wrong with that if you like that style of art, but it was everywhere. It was wall to wall. And then before that, you had, 18 months ago, half of foundation was anime. So there are trends and there are always going to be trends. And there's always going to be some people that execute those trends beautifully with real thought, real effort, real passion, real conviction because they love that style of art. And then there's going to be a herd of people copying them because they see an easy buck. And I don't feel like it's fair to beat AI up for that particular thing because it's just going to be the next style, the next trend, whatever it is in another few months' time. Anyway, that was just what I came up to say. And thank you so much for allowing me to say it.
well, it's an absolute pleasure, and I think you bring up some very interesting points, Ella. And my take on that whole thing is, if it's that easy to copy, I think it should be pushed further. I think then it's probably too easy to make. I mean, maybe that's I again, if the describe function works that well, then maybe that's not a fair point on my side. But I think, if it's that easy, then it should be pushed further. Maybe there should be more editing. Maybe there should be more blending of other works so that, because if you're using the blend command on Midjourney, I would be surprised if people could easily reproduce that without kind of knowing what the source image was, for example. And it's quite interesting. And to your point though, I think I think it should be, or adding to your point, I think it should be harder to make than being able to copy it that fast. I think it needs to be pushed further because when I'm making art, it's not like you take the first AI thing that you get and then you go, okay, now it's for sale. Probably some people do that, but I mean, as we had Clown Vamp on. He described his process as like it sounded like thousands of images were involved before that kind of final, special image that Clown Vamp wanted to, use and release. Do you have any quick comments on that before I turn it over to you? Don't know who we are.
100%. If you're doing AI right, then you're treating it almost like a photographer does. You take thousands and thousands of pictures, and you need skill and experience and knowledge just to get your shots set up and to know which pictures to take. But then you end up with thousands, and it goes back to what the guys were saying before. You've got to be able to curate, and then you've also got to be able to edit. I don't think I've ever spent any less than about, I think the quickest was about 4 hours, but usually 8 to 12 hours on any AI piece that I've actually minted. All the post processing, the tweaking, just getting it exactly right. And yeah, I agree wholeheartedly with everything you say. It comes down to effort and intent, if you really want to sum it up in a single sentence.
Beautifully summed up there. I appreciate the just the economic language there. You don't know who we are. Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us. Where are you calling from? And you don't need to tell us.
Hi, Pocobelli, Roomtoon, and Collector, and every friend, Santiago, and everyone. Is nice to be here among friends. And I'm talking from Brazil and the interior of São Paulo. And, and it's so nice to hear you guys talk. And I've been following Collector for some time, and it's always a pleasure to read the threads that he makes and hear his thoughts and know about he the process of the collecting. And I have to say that it's more good to hear his voice and know here actually he's saying how passionate he are about collecting art. He it makes all the difference. And if I know that you collect from a lot of Brazilian artists, and that's is big, huge for us. And it's very hard to make living in Brazil from art, so it's a great thing to have the support and to feel evaluated. And uh, and I want to talk about this what you're talking about AI works, because from the first time that I saw some AI works too, I didn't like them, and I was very I don't know, I didn't like so much of the AI works that I were seeing. But after I started to using it, and I don't know, found out that this could be a great creative partner. It's changed my mind. And I don't know, using the photographs that we took from some physical masks and creating other works of AI would has been so great. Like to see our creativity and the technology being together to create another images and another kind of masks and styles. And I don't know, every single of this. And I don't know, I just want to thank you all. And I want to ask to Uno Collector what what are he what he think about what makes like an artist unique, and how he judge it, if he do some research, and I don't know, that kind of stuff. And thank you all.
Thanks for that. That was very nice words, and I agree. It's a big chance for like artists in Brazil. Yeah, I heard a lot of talked with a lot of artists of Brazil that they said that it was tough to sell art, and now with NFTs they have the chance, and there are a lot of super talented men and women in Brazil that are creating art. And so it's glad that we could, with NFT space, open the door for them to show their talent and their vision to the world. And hopefully this is just a start. And to your question, what makes somebody special, I would say this changed a lot. I changed from seeing just one image to trying to see like what is the vision of the artist. Like this is for me, we have a lot of new artists in the space that are just finding their voice, that are experimenting. This is so nice, and you can see, I love to see the process, like where they started, where they're now. And there are some that are creating for so many years, and you can see that in their pieces too, that they already found their vision. They have different maybe visualities, like I saw here Sky Goodman now. And for example, has so much different visual uh, ideas, I would say. But it's always possible to see the artistic voice behind it all. And this is something very special. And I think that we all forget that a lot here with the fast paced world. And we always hype an artist for some months and then he's forgotten and try to make money. Some collectors try to make money with that and the hypes that we said and all this kind of stuff. But the real value and the real, like, who's doing something special or not will be visible in for most in maybe some years, to see if they kept producing and kept creating um art that pushes their own vision and their own view on the world and on art. And yeah, so I'm trying to always, like, see it now than before, try to see the history of an artist and see where they come from on the blockchain, because yeah, I don't have other references, at least. But yeah, to see what is this is the most interesting part for me, like where somebody starts and if they're professional for 30 years or if they're like a newcomer and they try to make it here, and do they have interesting ideas and do they have the passion, and yeah, these kind of things.
Do they have the vision? Santiago, and we're going to have to be faster here because I have a moving truck coming in about 20 minutes here. Santiago, welcome to the show. Calling from
How are you
Uruguay.
guys?
Great
How
to hear
are
you.
you, Poco,
Welcome.
Rune? You see, how are you doing? It's great
Good,
to hear
wonderful.
you.
Great to hear you too, Santiago.
There's
Do
some
you have a
energy.
question
Yeah,
or a comment?
I was sent to Earth to fight with unknown collector, but I will be easy on him today. How are you, man?
Hello, how are you?
All good. It was great to hear your story. Really beautiful chat. And it was very cool too that AI is still a hot topic. It brings some different views and it sounds fun. It always makes think, at least for this short period that is so important. So yeah, I was gonna ask about your artist side. You have been making some ideas about the space, right? Turning them into prompts and artworks. And how will that follow?
That's a good question. There's, first of all, I love the energy and I love the Portuguese pronunciation of the English, like with a lot of energy. So you bring some, almost finishing the space, but now we are awake again. So for my art, or my creations, I would say I wouldn't say that I'm an artist, because you have to prove that you're an artist for some time and not just say I'm a. For me, at least, but my creations, I don't really have like a plan for them, because I can't pressure it. I don't want to just sell something. It's not about that. It's more about, do I have fun, and do I have feel that it is adding at least a little bit to something, that I feel satisfied, that I found something new for myself inside the art, or that I could convey a message through art that maybe is a little bit more, um that stays. That's the cool thing about art, that it stays on the blockchain. It will be there. Tweets go away, bad tweets go away, thanks God. Also, we don't deserve some tweets. And yeah, so my this is a whole different journey. I take all the time that I have. I don't think that I'm especially talented or something as an artist. I'm doing some AI art and hope I can go from there when I have some more time and some phases with less projects that I can explore. Also, digital painting and all these kind of different mediums to just have fun and grow, and see where it's going and see if the ideas are coming. And yeah, I don't want to pressure myself with that, and I'm not doing it.
And
Excellent. Go ahead. Go ahead.
may I ask just one more short question? Yeah, thanks, Poco. how do you see this kind of crossing roles would be? But it's just the nature of this space now. But uh, collectors that get the itch to make art, and many do great stuff, and artists constantly collecting art. How do you see this? I guess positively, but what's your reading on all this happening in this period of time and in this art scene?
I think like what I think is not perfect is like when an art and a collector makes. We had that before, that he made like a pretty easily reproduced image without interesting idea for me, and sold very high, and these kind of things. It feels a little bit unfair towards the artists that create for all their life, and so much they have so much ideas and so much skills and so much, yeah, everything that art needs, and that they are struggling. But it's like it is. The world's not fair. So um in general, I love that collectors create, because it opens also your mind up to a different angle to art. You can learn about, like, appreciate different things in the process differently, and you learn much more, and you maybe realize what is important to look up or to research or to learn about and read about. And so that's very cool and very important, somehow, to appreciate art more that you are collecting. And then, on the opposite, it's, I hope this will be rewarded in the future, that a lot of artists now not only are minting themselves but also collecting from other artists, and hopefully have some masterpieces that will be worth a lot in the future, so they can create with more calm, also in this kind of like perspective, that they had some great investments. I wish that. I think it's not super, like, who knows, who knows, maybe always we will keep chasing the trends, and all the art that we collected will it will stay worthless, but I don't think so. And when you look how collecting works in general in the world, and the psychology behind it, I don't think that this will change so much. And yeah, so I hope that it will pay off for everyone that is collecting art on the side as an artist, and I love to see it. And I always love to browse collections of artists, because if I have an artist that I think is very great, that I love, I'm almost sure, if that artist collects art, that is great art that they collect. So
I,
yeah.
I think it was Art Gnome that was saying artists make the best collectors, and I thought that was just an interesting point, whether it's true or not. And I think it's also interesting what you're mentioning about how collectors, there's a real benefit for collectors in making art. I think it really helps you kind of, develop as a collector. And I also just like, it's another thing I really like about this space is the wall that's breaking down between the artist and the collector. Artists are becoming, much bigger collectors than they are in the contemporary art world. And collectors are becoming artists, and sometimes they're pretty darn good. So it's really interesting, and AI and pixel art totally makes that possible. MVP, welcome to the show. Are you still here? Yes, MVP is still here. I'm going to ask you to make it a little bit quicker if possible. Welcome back. You may be on mute. Are you still here? Oh, MVP might have had to go. Oh, there he. Okay,
You can't
MVP.
speak, I feel. It doesn't
I'm
work,
going
the
to invite to
microphone.
speak again.
Like, he is not muted, or they are not muted, but
He might have pressed the wrong button. I invited you to speak, MVP. So in the meantime, we will quickly go to It's Nas. Welcome to the show. If you have a quick question or comment for Unknown Collector, go for it.
Yeah, thank you so much. So, hey everyone, thanks for having me. Yeah, I have a question and about the unknown collector because when I'm joining to the NFT space, I met the unknown collector as a the 10 people I know in the NFT space. So and I know you as a builder all the time. It's not about the collector or artist. And my question is, what's the purpose about the building And are you thinking the people understanding your concern about the NFT culture? Because I saw many times you down because of the behavior of NFT culture, and sometimes I like you, and I really love to know about what's your purpose about the building the community or building the NFT culture in Web3. So yeah, thank you so much.
So thanks. That's a good question. I would say it's a long question. I will try to make it short because we don't have much time. But like to for me, the more important than money, for example, is like to have a passion about something that you wake up and you are passionate about to do it, and to grow something you don't even know where it will go. I'm not sure what is my purpose of it, but I know that before this I was always very, like, without a lot of motivation like really professionally saying, to start my day, and didn't know what I want to do with my life, like something with a bigger purpose. I have a master's degree in psychology, but I always felt that it's also very heavy on myself in this kind of job. Like, it's a lot of pressure, and it's tough to really be happy, surrounded by so heavy pros all the time. So I was like, you need to be very strong to do this kind of job. And I was not very happy. And since discovered art in this space, and I saw that I can have like an influence. I not an influence, but I try to always say that, don't take it seriously. Like, I am growing in this space like everyone else, and it's so beautiful that I have the chance as an art outsider to grow, and to make my opinion up, and people listening, and I don't get excluded. Like, it's the same for artists than for me, like a collector and curator in the traditional world. Here you have the chance to be heard, and to participate at least a little bit. Often we are not heard, and we're ignored, and hypes and scams and these things are bigger. But in the end, like, every little change that we can do is worth something. That's what I feel. So I'm just trying to push my ideals of putting the artist and the art first, to give them something that we can create something that really helps to change something in the life of an artist. Because I feel, for me at least, it opens so much doors mentally, and from a happiness point of view, to see so much great art, and to dive into it, and to really trying to understand or feel it even. And often art can't be understood, but just felt. And it's something beautiful, and I just feel that it's the right thing, and I'm not sure where this all will go. But since I started, there was always a new project that I could take on, and everything was a learning experience, even though this is all like voluntarily unpaid. And at some point I probably need to see if I can keep going doing it, because we all need to live. But it's just so much fun, and I hope I can continue, and I will find the next project, I will find the next step, and that I can keep pushing this space like I want to see it, that is like favoring artists. And I try not to see all the shit that is happening on the side, to really like see my vision for it, and that I keep going after it, and that I not doesn't matter what happens on the side,
Absolutely.
of
Yeah.
really
It's
like
funny.
going somewhere.
Sorry. You cut out for a second there, so I started
No, no, no,
talking.
no, 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 no. It,
Um,
it was the perfect moment. It was perfect. I was finished.
okay, good. I was just gonna say, it's funny. I miss like so much of the stuff that happens on the side, and I wonder if it's just because I follow the artists that I like and everything, and just artists in general. And I miss a lot of it. I'm always like, where's everybody getting all this information from? MVP, welcome back to the stage. Can you make it quick? Because I actually have to leave in about less than maybe 8 minutes here. So maybe a quick question here or comment, whatever you like. Welcome back.
Yay, thanks for bringing me back up. Sorry, it's the typical Twitter rugville.
For sure. Hardcore today.
uh, yeah, thanks for having Unknown on, and Unknown, thanks for being on. Just wanted to express my appreciation for what you do for the space as an art educator. I just love the voice that you bring to the space, and I think the respect that you'd garnered from speaking your mind and not being afraid to say things that need to be said. I think that the space needs a voice like yours in it. So definitely just wanted to come up and say I read you, I hear you, and keep on keeping on, man.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. That's always nice to hear. Keep staying motivated, because yeah, sometimes I think we all have that we think like it's just so abstract to live in this virtual digital space that just is like words and images. So sometimes we need to remind ourselves that this is real and that we are doing something that we believe in and has some purpose for ourselves and for people around us. So it's nice to hear these words.
I
Just
echo that. Beautifully put. Sorry, go ahead, MVP.
No, thanks, Paco. Just one more quick question. I wonder what you think about like legacy works that are being minted and brought into the marketplace, and or if you want to speak to any kind of like traditional media. And it kind of just seems like, at least for now, the trend is for like whatever's new is kind of what's popular and being bought by collectors. And I wonder if it's just, if it's a pendulum, it'll swing back the other way, or if really what NFTs do represent is kind of avant-garde, cutting edge of the art space.
So I think it's like we are mixing here in this space, like this fast making money with art and with collecting in the traditional way. So it's very mixed, and we all feel it's all just one pot, but it's happening like at the same time. There will always be people trying to make money on hypes, and I don't know how it works, how they do it, but I'm sure they are somehow pushing it to get value that is not there. But I think that like historic works and all these kind of things will always have appreciation in some circles and will always be important. And we can also see that with generative art, like art blocks now have like their new in midst of the bear market, there is like the appreciation for it so much. And so I also think that like with photography, like the really good photography collections that were like shaping the space in the beginning, and also something that is coming new that maybe has like something a new twist on photography. I think you need to stand out, of course, to the mass of collections, but like the historic very good collections that are out there, they will gain in value, but it needs time. It needs a lot of time. It needs more people that understand what is the value of a photography on the blockchain. Like it's revolutionary that you minted a piece of photography on the blockchain before AI could recreate everything, before it could recreate every photograph. And you had this piece here minted in this time that is very short, like when the time span before NFTs and before AI. This is so short. This time span is so it will be so important in the future. It takes time. It takes time, and I think that's the thing that we always forget, because everything is so fast lived and so hyped. And we should take a step back and try to understand that it's not like to sell. It's not easy, and it shouldn't be the main priority. Of course, if you live from it, it's a different kind of story, but you need to like give in to a lot of pressure, like Runtun said, like mass produce more, because you need to keep up with the space to sell constantly. So I think we just need time. We need to mature. We need more educators, like real people that know about art that are heard. So I always am open to listen to people that have like a lot of experience, and that I can borrow my voice. And I always try to borrow my voice to people that are not heard, but that have a lot to say. And it's, yeah, because social media is a strange place. It's popularity and these kind of things, and it's very at the end it's a little bit stupid actually, but that's why I started my account. I visioned that I can somehow give a positive voice in midst of all the grifters and scammers, people trying to make money, and it's slowed down in the bear, but it's happening, and we're getting hurt, and I hope to continue that like this.
Well, exactly like MVP says, you are being heard, Unknown Collector. And Vijay, very quickly, do you have a question, comment for Unknown Collector?
Hello, everyone. I sent a lot of love from Greece. Yeah, I have some more question and very thankful for this. All of I can tell a lot of educational information was. Thank you so much. Really appreciate. One more question. I wanted to ask you how you choose artist or photographer or someone another artist for collection. It's someone inspiring or you know this person so long time and you follow him and take a look what going on or you just come in random take and go away.
Yeah, so that's also a good question. It's changed a lot. In the beginning, I was like want to help as many people as possible, as many artists. So I just collected one piece of everyone, and it was like exciting, and I don't know, but it's not some like it's also hindering the growth of both because you feel responsible for so many artists, like a little bit, but you cannot keep up. I collected from, I'm not sure, I'm sure we are getting close to 1,000 different artists, so it's impossible to keep like helping them and pushing their art and this kind of thing. So now that also I don't have money anymore, I spent it all, and I try to focus when I collect. I always try to focus on artists that I really think, that I really believe in them, that I believe in their vision, that I believe in their visual, that I believe in their concept, in their grit, in their passion, and I try to keep supporting them if I have some money on to spare. So that's at the moment my strategy. I think it's we need it all. We need the streaks of collecting from somebody that gets into NFTs and addicted and is like collecting everything. And this is also something like that lifts up the spirit, and that everybody sees, yeah, we're still going. And it's like the first time now since, like, always we had like slow phases, but there was coming one collector collecting it all, and it was always fun. But now we have a little bit of a very slow, very very slow time. So I hope somebody will find their love for art and NFT soon, and they go crazy with their money.
Well, like you say, it's like it's too much fun to imagine this going away. Like it really is fun for those that get into it. August Ground, glad to have you on the show. Be very quick if you can in the dying minutes of the show.
All right, can you hear me, sir?
Loud and clear.
Fabulous. I just want to say, especially to the two of you, that passion, that sort of leap of faith is precisely what creates value in art. And we are the people, if you look traditionally at things that weren't considered art and that were sort of peripheral or problematic, it's the people that had that sort of passion or leap of faith that brought that work to the world. And I think that's what the two of you are doing. And I just want to commend you on that because sometimes it's really fucking difficult. So, yeah, that's all.
Thanks a lot.
Very nice of you to say that, August, and great to hear from you. I see the comments. Let me wrap this up here. Unknown Collector, do you have any final thoughts before we turn to Rune Tune and sign off here?
Yeah, I want to say to your show and how you do things, and I love like you keep pushing every day your artist journals. You're not even sure like where this will go. You're just doing it out of passion and like, but in a very incredible way. And I hope that more people will find these artist journals and they will look back at it at some time. We're like, wow, this guy, like, what a passion in the start of the NFT world, and he was like just putting it out there and with a lot of sensibility and thought, and always like always caring for what is the community telling him. And you're doing a great job, and I hope more people will find you soon.
Well, I totally appreciate it. And you showing up on spaces like this definitely helps that mission. And, just on that point, like, what's so weird about it for me, I mean, it's weird for me too, obviously, in the sense that I don't know what's going to be said, where the discussion's going to go. Like it really is a community effort. Like I'm amazed at where the show is going in the sense just intellectually. Like, and I almost, I'm moving. I almost didn't do the last show, and I was so glad I did. I was like, that was so interesting where it went. And when I don't do the show, it's not like the conversation continues in my head and develops, maybe a little bit, but nowhere near as fast. So it really is, it's Socratic, so I appreciate the thoughts, but it really is a conversation. Rune Tune, do you have any final thoughts before we sign off here?
No, I think MVP said it best. Unknown collector, your authenticity and your passion definitely comes through very loud and clear, and we all appreciate you for that. Thanks for coming on and talking with all of us.
Thanks. It was a pleasure. I hope we do it someday again. A lot to talk about still.
Well, we would love to have you back. So maybe in like, I don't know, 5 or 6 months or something, whenever, let's do that again for sure. Thank you, everybody, for coming on stage. Thank you, Unknown Collector. Thank you, Rune Tune. And thank you, everybody else out there listening. Thank you for just another awesome show. And I hope you have a great week. And until next time, take care.
Thanks and bye.